Roll the tape for this, our main event of the evening. We introduce the champion, Chris, the West Side Strangler Brennan. Let's get it all!
What's up, guys? We're here to cover Bellator 294 and 295 in Hawaii. I love when they go to Hawaii. They do back-to-back nights every time they go there at the Blaisdell Arena, where I'm 2-0.
All right.
Love that place.
Well, and it's got to be cool because I'm sure. Well, is it hard to go to a place like that and not go see the sights and still be focused, or do you have downtime?
You have downtime,
okay,
for sure. Like if we went back there, it'd be a lot of fun. Honestly, we've talked about it in the past, but Warriors Quest was put on by a guy named Brennan Kamaka and Kai Kamaka, who is Kai's dad.
Yes.
And that's how long I've known them, and they treated us better than if fighting in Pride or the UFC or anywhere else I went. Like it was the best show ever.
That's awesome.
And they would fill up the Blaisdell Arena, and it was awesome. One of my fighters, Lucas Pace, who Lucas got named after, he's a Christian kid, and he fought Bobo, who's another friend of mine, Bob Ostovich, and when Lucas walked out, he walked out to a Christian song.
Okay.
And literally 8,000 people were singing this song as he walked out, and he was against the guy from Hawaii. And my buddy Bob, who fought Lucas, was in the back, and he literally he said it hit him right then. He goes, I didn't know he was a Christian. I didn't want to fight him after that.
Oh,
like
my
it was,
gosh.
I didn't want to fight him, and you know, hearing the crowd and whatever, and it was like it really got in his head, and not on purpose, but it was just Lucas, a good kid. Bob's really great crowd, really great crowd. Love going there.
They're a fight savvy crowd too,
big
right?
time, big time.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to go over two Bellator events since it is a Friday and Saturday. We'll touch on fights from each of these. Starting off in 294 on the main card, Levon Chokoli and Michael Lombardo. You wanted to talk about this. This is a welterweight fight.
Yeah, Chokoli's a guy from Georgia, the country Georgia.
Not the state?
No.
Not from Atlanta?
No. But just as tough. Okay. He's 11-2. He's fighting Michael Lombardo, who's 13-3. Michael Lombardo's a very tough guy. They're fighting at the welterweight division, 170.
Yeah.
I think it's a great fight. Lombardo wants to probably keep it on the feet and bang. Chokoli, I'd imagine, will strike, but he's going to have a solid wrestling background coming from Georgia. And I'm gonna go with Levon Chokoli on to win this fight, probably by decision.
Okay. You know, I'm starting to look at these records, and I know there's a big spread, but you're seeing 11-2, so 13 fights, 13-3, 16 fights.
Yeah.
That's not that many fights. Not that they're not good, not that they don't have a career, but that's a small sample set, and I guess really I'm looking at that more in context of Luke,
right?
Who's got
he
8
stays
fights,
busy though, like he tries to, he fights it 3 times a year.
Yeah.
4 if there's a possibility, but a lot of guys don't fight that often, and then it takes them twice as long to get to that amount of fights.
So you picked this fight on purpose. What was it about this fight that interested you? Is it just the style, the match?
Yeah. I wanted to go over the whole main card here, and then I like that the Georgian. He's tough, man. He's tough, and he'll make it exciting. He's not just going to be a lay and pray wrestler. It's going to be exciting even on the ground.
That's awesome. The next fight, you've really
my all-time favorite guy.
You've ruined me, man. Anytime I see this guy on the card, I'm like, oh. Danny Sabatello and Marcos Breno. Sabatello's coming in 13-2. His resume speaks for itself. Yeah. Our feelings set aside. Solid fighter. He's got a lot of skills. He's really great in the cage.
Yeah, he's better on the mic.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Depends what you consider better. But
that's right. That's right. Tell us about Marcos Breno. What do you know about him?
He's 15-2, coming out of Brazil. I'd imagine Sabatello does not have good striking, but he throws something hard to get your hands up to shoot a takedown.
Yep.
He can get takedowns from 8 feet away. He has a long shot and is able to get there. I'm looking at this fight as at 135. This guy is 15-2, probably not any better than Leandro Higo, right? And Sabatello beat Leandro Higo by just get him to the mat, ground and pound, get him to the mat, controlling position. You know, he's not super exciting on the ground.
Yep.
He will throw, you know, a big elbow here and there, but he's not super exciting on the ground. And I'd imagine he wins the decision. He doesn't finish a lot of people.
Sabatello is a heavy favorite on this one. I don't see the odds here, but when you look on Bellator's website, 85% of those picking it are going for Sabatello.
Right.
And is that just because his wrestling is so next level?
You can't really judge off of this because, like, let's say when Luke's fighting, if I click Luke and no one else does, it's 100% to 0.
So your sample set is too small to get in.
Yeah, so it's hard to say how many people have actually voted on that.
Yep.
I would imagine he's still the favorite, probably fairly heavy, and it's going to be again by decision. He doesn't put a lot of people away.
Last 4 fights at Sabatello. I'm sorry, the last 4 fights of Sabatello have all gone to decision. It seems
so
like
will the 5th.
That's kind of his MO, right? He's going to control you. It's going to be a little boring, a little slow. You keep it on the ground, and he's going to get a whole bunch of 10-9s and win by a decision.
Yeah, and we've said before, he's got to come up with some finishing. You know, he's got to come up with some sort of finishing techniques, whether it be on the feet or the ground, instead of just, you know, ground and pound. I know he's fighting top guys. I know he's fighting good guys. Not easy to sub him, but he's not even getting to places to go for the sub.
Yep.
So,
yeah. All right. So I think I heard you say you're picking Sabatello on this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Arlene Blencow versus Sarah McCann. McCann doesn't even have her picture up on Bellator's website, which
McMahon.
McMahon,
so Sarah
thank
McMahon
you. Sarah McMahon, thank
is
you.
an Olympic, I believe, silver medalist wrestler.
Okay.
She was in the UFC for a long time, fought Ronda Rousey and some others. She, on paper, to me, was like a world beater. Could have been a lot of things and just never lived up to the potential for sure. Her wrestling, it doesn't translate into MMA like it should. And I'm not sure why. She's been cut from the UFC. She's fighting in Bellator now. She is what's her record?
13 and 6.
And probably 5 of those she could have won. The 6, I'll say, it was Ronda Rousey, and that was gonna be a tough fight regardless. But she ended up she got stopped with strikes from Ronda Rousey. She got kneed in the body and was done. So I'd like to see her pull it off. Arlene Blencow is just way more experienced against tough girls and doing well. Fought Cyborg twice. Her last fight against Cyborg was actually a really good fight that went all 5 rounds. I'm not seeing Sarah McMahon go 5 rounds with Cyborg, so I'm going to go with Arlene Blencow out of Australia.
So something interesting about McMahon, she's got 5 wins by submission, but she's also got 4 losses by submission. And to me, that's an interesting statistic because you would think if you're able to submit people, you're not often likely to be submitted.
Right. She's like, live by the sword, die by the sword.
Right. You know, like, and then you look at, by strikes, she's 1-1. And then if it goes the distance, she's 7 wins and 1 loss. So for her, I would think going back to Paul and the whole Moneyball thing, if you're looking statistically, not that I've done any research on this, but it feels like trying to last all 3 rounds is your best shot at victory for McMahon.
For sure.
But it sounds like what you're saying with Blencow is that she's not going to let it go all 5 rounds. Or I'm sorry, all 3 rounds.
I mean, I'm saying even if it does, I think she wins the fight.
Okay.
I don't think Sarah McMahon's wrestling, like I said, translate to MMA well enough to get the takedown on her 3 rounds in a row. And it's possible, but I'm going with it. It doesn't. And Arlene Blencow touches her up on the feet a lot.
Blanco's coming in from, I believe she fights out of Australia.
Yeah.
And Sarah McMahon's fighting out of, I was going to say out of South Carolina. But, boy, when you start looking at Hawaii, I don't know which one has the longer flight there.
Right.
Because I was thinking about, you know, which would there be an advantage with not having to deal with all that. But I don't know. Blencow might actually be closer geographically.
Probably.
So that's interesting. Cool. Well, I'm interested to see. Last time Blencow fought, I'm going to see what was her last fight here. It was the loss to Cyborg. Okay.
Yeah.
She hasn't fought. So she hasn't fought in almost exactly a year. It'll be almost exactly to a year since her last fight.
This next fight, Syed Swama, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Tim Johnson.
Yeah.
It's a tough fight. Tim Johnson is coming off of 3 losses in a row after 3 wins in a row.
Yeah.
Syed is coming off of 2 losses in a row after 2 wins in a row and a loss before that. So he lost to Terrell Fortune, and Tim Johnson beat Terrell Fortune. I think it's going to be a banger, and that's probably why that fight's the main event on this night. Oh, it's not the main event. Sorry,
it's the co-main event.
Co-main.
Yeah.
Yeah. 15-9 and 8-4. Tim Johnson is 265 pounds. Syed's 235 pounds.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, the heavyweight division, man. They could be 206.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
They could be 206 all the way to 265.
Tim Johnson looks like after the fight he's going to jump in an 18-wheeler and go drop off a load on his way home. He looks like a truck driver.
Yeah, he's a banger. He lost to Linton Vassell, lost to Fedor, and lost to Valentin Moldavsky. Beat Czech Congo and beat Matt Mitrione. Beat Tyrell Fortune. That was on a card we fought on a long time ago. Knocked him out. So
Tim Johnson trained with Ngannou at least at one point.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go they're both coming off of 5 losses between the two of them. They both want to win pretty bad because I imagine Tim Johnson's not staying if he loses this fight. He's already lost 3 in a row. Saad's lost twice, and I'd imagine he may not be staying either. Been pretty strict on the cuts recently.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Tim Johnson. Just for the hell of it.
Is it the 30 pounds? Is that what you think
that's
makes the difference?
one of the differences for sure. We'll see. I'm not positive.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't bet money on this one, but I'm going to go with Tim Johnson.
Main event of the night. This is the headliner. Liz Carmouche is fighting DEANNA Bennett. The champ versus number 2. Carmouche comes in at 18-7. This is the 125 fight, 125 weight class, and then DEANNA Bennett's coming in at 13-7-1. We've talked about Carmouche a few times. What do you know about DEANNA Bennett?
This is a rematch from 2020. Carmouche submitted her in the 3rd round, and what I heard, I do not remember seeing the fight. What I heard was DEANNA Bennett made a mistake, and in the mistake, she got capitalized on, and she got submitted.
Bennett's coming in listed with a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Liz Carmouche is a stud. She's good on the ground as well.
Yeah.
Beat Juliana Velasquez twice, beat Kana Watanabe, beat Vanessa Porto, and now she's got a rematch set up here. Going back to DEANNA Bennett, her last, 4 or 5 opponents, Justine Kish, tough, won a decision, beat her twice by decision. Alejandra Lara, who is, not great, you know. And then she lost to Liz Carmouche before that. So she has not had the quality of opponents that Liz Carmouche has, at least in the last 5 fights. And I believe it's going to be hard to beat Liz now that she's the champ. She fought for a long time before she was able to be the champ somewhere, and she made it happen here. And so I'm going to go with Liz. I don't know that she submits DEANNA Bennett, but I believe she beats her.
I'm trying to see, is Bennett ranked? She must be. If it's a title contention, she's got to be.
Yeah,
she's got to be. I was just looking at DEANNA Bennett's. I mean, you went through her history in some of her last fights. Kish, Lara, like you said, Carmouche. So her last 5 fights, she's only had 3 opponents. Right. She keeps cycling through, and I suspect that has something to do with being close to the top,
right?
And keeping at that level. But it does, you know, is that what it is? Is she
somehow the inactivity of Alimale McFarlane has skipped both of these girls, and she fights the following night. She's back. She's been out for a bit, and So that'll be interesting to see her come back against. She just does not seem big to me, and I've said that to you before. She's not seemed big to me like these 25ers. But we'll see. We'll see. Liz Carmouche by sub or decision.
Sub or decision.
Is that one word, sub or decision?
It is now.
Excellent.
All right. Well, let's transition into Saturday night. Man, there are some great fights on this, and we'll get to it. But obviously, the main card. Sorry, the main event, excuse me, is going to be ridiculous.
Super excited for that. There's a couple on the undercard I want to talk about real quick. I'll make them fast.
Okay.
There's a couple of 45ers on here. Now that we signed a new deal with Bellator, we're going to be getting into some of these guys. Weber Alameda is fighting Keone Diggs. Keone Diggs has listed as a 55er. Weber as a 45er. I believe Keone's coming down and fighting at 45. Weber is 7-0. Keone Diggs is 10-2.
Okay.
Weber, we've talked about before. He fights a lot like Machida. He's out of Machida's camp. He's got a karate background. Ben Lugo that we beat.
Yep.
Beat him. Was it Ben Lugo? No, I'm sorry. Johnny Soto.
Okay.
Beat him by decision. It's his only loss, and we win. 2.5 minutes with Johnny Soto. So I'd like to see that matchup down the line with Lucas and Weber. He's a super cool guy and out of a great gym, but we'll see who wins this fight here. Keone Diggs is tough, man. I believe out of Hawaii, and so he's gonna hit hard.
Is this one of those things where since they're in Hawaii, there are going to be a lot of Hawaii fighters all the way through? Is that okay?
For sure.
Okay. I know it sounds like you're pulling for Almeida, but are you thinking Diggs is going to?
I think that Diggs or Weber Alameda's got to watch out for the power of Keone Diggs for sure. Skills on the feet, I think probably Weber. He fights long, even though he's not long. He's kind of he's 5'7" at Luke's weight. He's kind of short and stocky, but fights real karate style, long kicks and whatnot. So he might be able to stay out of range, but Keone puts his hands on him. It's gonna change the fight for sure.
Age play into this at all? Seems like I guess they're about the same age. They don't look when you look at their pictures. Diggs looks significantly older, but looks like they're only 2 years apart. So, okay. What's
Diggs?
Diggs. Okay.
Next one I want to jump to is Kai Kamaka and Audley Edwards. Obviously, I would like to avoid fighting Kai until it mattered, until it meant something, just because I love that dude's family, and we've talked about that. He's a stud. He deserves to be in the rankings, and I'm sure he will be very soon. Audley Edwards is a guy we would like to fight.
Okay.
He is 5'11", 9-2 record. He is long, good striker. He's decent on the ground, not Luke's level, but he's a rostered guy that we're going to end up getting into at some point here in a little bit, and he's just I'll definitely be watching that fight. It's an interesting fight to me, but I think Kai has been really on. His last fight was probably his best fight of his 16 fights.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
That's
so I'm going with Kai.
Good.
After that, one more on this undercard: Mads Burnell versus Justin Gonzalez.
Yeah, I wondered if you were going to get that one.
Well, it'll be a little bit before we're at these guys. This is number, I don't even know what, probably think number 4 or 5 and number 7, I think.
Okay.
Great fight. Justin Gonzalez is the one that just beat. No, I'm sorry. Justin Gonzalez actually cornered Ben Lugo when we fought him. He's good. I always confuse him with Jeremy Kennedy, who beat Pico. He's 14-1. Mads Burnell 16-4. 5'10" and 5'8". Mads Burnell looks a lot shorter than 5'8" when it comes to fighting Justin Gonzalez. Justin Gonzalez looks long. You know, I believe the wrestling and striking of Gonzalez may factor into this. I love Mads Burnell. I love watching him fight. He's very slick. When he fought Adam Borix, he was going to the body, ripping the body really well. I talked to him a little bit afterwards. I'd love to get him on here, maybe after this fight or something. But he's fighting out of Denmark, but he's at Extreme Couture in Vegas.
Okay.
And so he's someone that I definitely keep an eye on, just because at some point we'll probably have to fight him, but I also like to watch him because he's a great fighter. I think Justin might pull it off, but I believe that Mads has all the skills to get it done. So we'll see.
Pulling for Mads.
Yeah.
Transitioning to the main card, then Horiguchi and Ray Borg.
Yeah,
it's a
man.
35er. Horiguchi's coming in 30-5. I think we've talked about him a number of times. What do you know about Ray Borg?
Ray Borg is coming from the UFC. I don't think he's fought. He may have fought somewhere since then. I'm not sure if he did or didn't, but he is coming over from the UFC. He's a stud, real good fighter. He's fought some guys that I know from around here. I believe he fought Ryan Benoit in the UFC and some other guys. He's 16-5. Horiguchi's 30-5. Horiguchi was winning every second of his title fight against Sergio Pettis, and then ate
Until
a spinning elbow and got knocked out in the last round.
Yep.
I think he's a stud. I think he beat Darren Caldwell, I think, twice. I think he beats Ray Borg. We'll see. Ray Borg, I think, was a 25er in the UFC, and he's a 35er over here at Bellator because there is no 25.
Right.
But I'm going with Horiguchi.
Awesome. Aaron Pico, James Gonzalez. This is another 45er that I'm sure 45 fight that you're going to be watching.
Yeah, for two reasons. One, I think Aaron Pico is going to be the champ of this division, the next champ. As soon as he gets a title fight, I think he's the champ. James Gonzalez is the guy who beat Cody Law. He was not signed with Bellator, but he was tough. Levi Miles, who we used to train with, beat him by decision. And he is a guy who I've used as in talks with Bellator. At the end of our last contract, I said someone like James Gonzalez. That's where we're. And here he is. They've signed him now, and he took this fight on short notice. It was Otto Rodriguez or Otto something who was supposed to be this fight.
Yeah.
It actually even said it still this morning.
I was going to say that just changed now that I think about it.
Yeah, it said it this morning.
Yeah.
But I knew James took the fight a few days ago. But Aaron Pico's a tough fight to take with a full camp, let alone on short notice.
Short notice.
I'm sure this guy said, yes, I'll take the fight on short notice if, you give me X amount of fights.
Yeah,
and he deserves after taking that fight.
Yeah.
We got the fight offered to Ty, and I was like, well, Ty's a 35er, and no.
Oh, Ty, okay.
Yeah, not Tyler, my son.
Oh,
Ty.
yeah, I was kidding.
Ty Johnson. But, I think Aaron Pico, now that he's at Jackson's, now that he knows how to box, wrestle, and jiu-jitsu all together, instead of just going out there and bombing,
right.
Because he does have knockout power,
right.
Whether it's to the body or the head. I think he's probably the most dangerous guy on paper in there now. And if he keeps it together and his shoulder's good, I think he's...
Does Pico have the you talked about it with Rimmer. Paul, sorry. That you can be good at a few things, but if you don't know the plays and you don't know how to pull them together, then you just are good at three discrete things that don't connect.
Greg Jackson is a play guy. He knows, I believe he knows how to put together a game plan, and he's kind of reeled in Aaron Pico and said, listen, you were in the Olympic trials in high school. You beat Zane Rutherford while you were in high school, and he was a champion, the NCAA champion. Why are you wrestling? So let's box to wrestle, And so he's fighting a lot better now,
Awesome.
and so I'm going to go with Pico on this fight, but I think that puts us at a sooner opportunity to get something like James Gonzalez down the line.
That's awesome. Feature fight.
Just talked about her, Lee
Yeah,
McFarland
Malay.
and Kana Watanabe. 12 12-2, 11-1. That's as close as you can get. 5-5 and 5-6, both 125. One's out of Japan, one's out of the USA, one's out of Hawaii. And on here we got it 57% to 42%, so it's fairly close.
Yeah.
Watanabe's tough. You know, Alimale's been off for a little bit. I think her last fight she lost to Juliana Velasquez for the belt, I think. Oh no, she beat Bruna Ellen, lost to Justine Kish, lost to Juliana Velasquez, and then was on her long streak before that. She was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fight in Bellator win streak before running into Juliana Velasquez. And then lost 2 after. She lost that one, then she lost her next one. Then she beat Bruna Ellen and is now going to fight Kana Watanabe. Watanabe she lost to Liz Carmouche by TKO 35 seconds into the first round.
Oh.
But he beat Denise Killholtz, beat Alejandra Lara, and beat Lara Joanna. They both fought each other, actually, on our last card. But I think her hands are full with Alimale.
Yeah.
I think she's tough, but I think if Alimale has been spending time getting back in shape, spending time training, you know, getting her drive back, her desire back, because I feel like she lost it a little bit after she lost to Juliana. I think she wins this fight. I think she can pull it off.
Alimale seems she's got a lot of wins by sub.
Yeah.
She's
got solid jiu-jitsu.
Do you feel like that's, I mean, if you were cornering her, would you be
that's the plan for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the plan for sure. I'm sure that'll be her plan as well.
And can Kana defend that? If Alimale has her way on the ground, does she win that?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yep.
So
main event.
This is it, man. This is we've been talking about this for darn near, it feels like a year. Looking at the Grand Prix, the bantamweight Grand Prix, and if I had picked 2 fighters from the very beginning, after kind of going through everything that I would have wanted to see, it would have been these 2 guys.
Absolutely, I
think you can easily get behind either one of them. They seem like good dudes, solid fighters. 19-1 and 17-1.
Like,
I mean, are you kidding?
That's as close to somebody's O's gotta go as you can get.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's awesome. I think do you like Stotts in this one? Is that no?
I like Stotts.
You like Stotts?
Patchy Mix is a freaking savage, and he wins by guillotine. And it's got him listed as 5'8". I believe he is not 5'8". He stood next to Lucas for a picture after Luke's fight.
Yeah.
And he made Luke look little. He was very, very big, and he fights
Luke?
at 35, 5'10", but he was at least his height and big as well.
Yeah.
And it's got Rufian Stotts at 5'7". That's pushing it as well, I think. But I think Rufian takes him down, but he doesn't want to take him down. Right, like he's in a tough situation. He's got to try to keep it on the feet and make it happen on the feet. Patchy's good on the feet. He's going to be a lot longer on the feet, I believe. And then his submission skills are just better. He's just, from what I've heard from people about Patchy in the gym. Jake Shields, who's a great jiu-jitsu black belt. A lot of people have said he is the best jiu-jitsu guy that's not a jiu-jitsu guy, like the best MMA jiu-jitsu guy in MMA right now at that weight class.
How much importance do you put on Patchy Mix's win over Magomedov?
Yeah, I mean, he guillotined him. He submitted him.
Yeah.
I like that guy, but I was so happy to see somebody submit one of them. I was like, okay, you can choke him?
Yeah.
There's not gills in the side of their neck? Okay, let's do
That's a thing.
this.
And, of course, he's got Horiguchi before that. So,
Right.
I mean, that's just those 2 fights. I mean, you can go down, and the rest of his resume isn't that solid, but Horiguchi and Magomedov.
Well, he also guillotined James Gallagher, who was at Glory with us, who was a guillotine machine. Dude guillotines everybody, and he got guillotined. They had guillotines back and forth on each other in that fight, and then he got guillotined. But he's Yeah, beat Ricky Bandeja, knocked out Ricky Bandejas. Oh no, he subbed him. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think he beats Rufián. I like Rufián a lot. I wouldn't be disappointed either way, but I just think Patchy beats him.
You know, I was just looking at the just kind of the overview of this because it's in Hawaii. That means that the main card doesn't start till 11 o'clock Dallas time. So we're going to be. It airs at 11
p.m. Eastern.
Oh,
so
Eastern.
We'll
So 10.
We'll get it at 10 here.
10. So that's going to be. It'll be a little bit of a late night.
Yeah.
A little bit later. Great
Cool.
weekend full of fights. This
Yeah,
is
I'm
gonna
excited.
Be, yeah,
I'm excited.
Like you're going to be on the couch.
I like Bellator so much I couldn't even tell you if there's a UFC on tomorrow night.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if there is either. I didn't even look. That's awesome.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys next week to go over the recap of this and see how correct we were. I went with Patchy, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
you did.
Patchy.
You did. And I'll document everything. Make sure we're ready to go so we can tick them off as we go through the recap.
Thank you, guys.
It is all over, just like that.